Hey, Anthony, do you like my new shirt?
Sure, man. It's cool. Could have been better.
What was that?
I said it could have been better.
You want to fight about
Yeah,
it?
I do. Let's go, chump. Hold on a second. We don't need to fight.
We don't?
All you need to do is go to 86.com and choose from one of their many designs. Franchises range from Skullgirls to Street Fighter and even BlazBlue. And if you check out 86 through this Twitch channel, use 86.com/?AFF=4 to let them know that Mission Star Podcast sent you. Alright, well, while you do that, I'm going to transition to our next story here. And this is regarding, our good friends over at Lootbox and all that jazz. Because, hey, we love to talk about it. And I say that sarcastically. So, this was written by the BBC and written by Zoe Kelman. FIFA packs and loot boxes are not gambling in the UK. The UK gambling watchdog has told MPs that it does not currently oversee the purchase of in-game content like FIFA player packs and video game loot boxes. This is just because there is no official way to monetize what's inside them. A prize has to be either money or have monetary value in order for it to fall under gambling legislation. However, there are unauthorized third-party sites which buy and sell in-game content or enable it to be used as virtual currency. Gambling Commission's Program Director Brad Inright admit that games publishers EA, which sells a football team management game FIFA, faced a constant battle against unauthorized secondary markets. There is consequently a demand for a second market, he said. And FIFA players can be bought in packs, but their content is only revealed after payment. The same applies to loot boxes, which contain bonus content, often in the form of a character, costumes, or weapons. Dozens of parents have told the BBC that their children are spending hundreds of pounds on in-game
bringing the kids into this thing. Sorry.
in-game purchases and have criticized the process as a form of gambling, as there's an element of chance and the outcome, and their children are in a tempted to buy again in order to try and get the result they want. So, in the UK,
You really had to bring up this one again, huh, Anthony?
it's a slow news week.
I can actually put a whole new twist on this shit for you.
All right.
Let's see unless it's the one that I put into it.
Here's the twist on it. I used to work for a company called Alpha Draft. Alpha Draft was purchased by a company called FanDuel. You've probably heard of FanDuel.
Absolutely.
If you haven't, you've heard of DraftKings.
Yes.
Yep.
So here's the thing. There has been multiple legal actions taken against FanDuel in multiple states trying to show that they are gambling. I don't think my NDA applies any longer because it's been quite a few years. So I'm going to fucking say this anyways, and if they come and sue me, well, I don't know what the fuck they're going to try and take from me, but fuck them. So on internal conferences, and this is like with, the CEO of FanDuel on the phone, they would bend over backwards to avoid anything that even hinted of saying the word gamble or gambling or anything of the sort when it was an open secret that it's gambling. They will try and say, oh, it's a skill game, but it's gambling. The same thing applies to loot boxes. Look at what they're doing now. It's not loot boxes, guys. It's surprise mechanics. What the fuck? No.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing, Alex. Is we've had this conversation 1,001 fucking times on this channel, and I've explained why loot boxes and microtransactions came into existence. At a time, it was a supplement because of the cost of games is lower than it ever has been, and yada yada yada. And they were trying to figure out a way to bring in more money. That's why DLC existed and all that jazz. Now that being said, that's sort of moot to the point about loot boxes being gambling, because gambling, like they said, it has to do with monetary gain and loss. There is no monetary gain and loss when you buy a loot box. It's like the 25-cent gotcha or catcher machines or the fucking claw machines. That's all it is. You're spending your money in the way that you want, whether the fucking surprise mechanics have what you want. Now, if you want to get into the conversation about it being predatory, or you want to get into the conversation about it being immoral, that's a different fucking conversation. But to call it gambling is nonsense to me. Gambling is, I put my money in and I either double my money or I lose my money. Straight up.
That's not gambling. Like, that's not actually the gambling doesn't necessarily have to have a monetary value associated with it. Gambling is a game of chance. There is usually money attached to it.
Here's the thing about gambling, Alex, is that gambling, you take the risk of gaining nothing. You take the risk of gaining in nothing.
Except I've gotten plenty of loot boxes in games where I gain nothing because guess what? Duplicates.
But you still get something.
No, I get nothing.
Let's say in Overwatch you get a loot box and everything in that loot box is duplicates, right? You still get coins that go towards getting something that you do want. So you're still getting something.
In Overwatch.
I honestly have never played a game of loot boxes where that wasn't the case.
I've run into other ones where they're not big games and they're small little ones. They usually go out of development after like a year and a half. But there are games that have existed where you don't get jack shit if you duplicate. Like, it's just like, hey, good luck, try again later.
I mean,
so like, they do exist, and I'm not saying you have to get rid of it completely. Do I believe loot boxes should exist? No, not really, because I do believe they are predatory. But like you said, different conversation. But I don't think that you should. I think you have to regulate them to the point where it's like, look, you have to be sure that they are getting something that is worth at least X amount of money, because that's how much you're charging them.
When you say regulate, what do you mean by that?
So unfortunately, in this particular case, either the USRB, which has done an amazing job of regulating video game ratings, needs to find a way to step in and make sure it happens, or I would hate to say this, but governments are going to get involved.
See,
and that's what you're seeing in the UK. You're seeing the government get involved in the UK.
Yeah. Here's my thing about government getting involved in loot boxes. That is a very slippery slope.
Oh, I agree.
That is an incredibly slippery slope to them just intervening with gaming as a whole. You talked about last week when it came to the artistic integrity of a video game, to the idea of monetary or capitalist game. And to me, that's in the same vein. When you allow the government to have their foothold in an entertainment medium, you risk losing artistic integrity. And you're going to see that if the government, any government in the world, steps forward with loot box or surprise mechanics in that regard. Now, what I've said numerous fucking times is, if you don't like loot boxes, don't allow your kids to purchase them, and to further that, don't buy them yourself. We as a community of people who enjoy our video games, we need to tell the industry we don't like them. That's it. Now, I'm impartial to them. I don't give a fuck. Put them in a game. I'm not playing the game for your fucking skins. I'm playing the game for the game. If I bought Overwatch because I enjoy the mechanics of the game. I enjoy playing that multiplayer. If I buy FIFA, I'm going to play it for the soccer aspect, not because I can get new outfits for my team or what the fuck ever the loot boxes are in FIFA. That's why, to me, I don't care about loot boxes being in a game. Other people are like, you get everything in a game, and I go, I don't care. I don't. Who honestly gives a fuck about earning every little goddamn thing in a multiplayer game? I think if you're going to try to earn everything in a game, fucking put your hand down, Alex.
I'm the guy who sinks thousands of hours into games because I complete it.
For a single-player game, I get that. For a
multiplayer, single-player doesn't matter. I did it to Call of Duty multiple times. Multiple times.
Okay, in that regard, you're earning guns and abilities and shit like that, and that's different. The skins aspect,
the achievements and all of that shit too. Like, yeah.
Is it actual players number?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, like, it's gamer score, the skins. some of the skins can only be unlocked if you do certain things, and it is a game skin or an icon or whatever, which is exactly what they're selling in loot boxes.
Well, that's my point, is the loot box system for a lot of games doesn't bother me. I didn't know that about FIFA. I was like, I knew that the loot box system in FIFA earns fucking EA a metric fuck ton of money.
No. FIFA is super predatory with their loot boxes. It's fucking disgusting.
But my point is that
it's
that's
the worst offender.
That's another thing. Each game is a case-by-case situation. When we blanket statement things, we fucking sound stupid to begin with. So
I agree. And it's why I said I would like to see the video game industry actually figure out their own way to, regulate this, just like they did with their rating system. Because the rating system works. Like, as long as people who are buying the games know what the rating system's all about and stuff like that.
I'm okay with forcing these companies to put a disclaimer that it has in-game purchases. I'm totally okay with that.
Well, they already do that, but what I would like to see is something is more along the lines of like, okay, if you have an e-game, you have to have some kind of valid government ID that you enter into a system, which is going to suck because we're bringing the government in a small way, but we already do by using credit cards and things like that anyways, technically. So you have to have some way to prove, hey, I am 18 years old and I am purchasing this. I think that's fair because that eliminates what I saw at Sony Online Entertainment when I worked there, where I would literally get calls from 85-year-old grandmothers, why do I have a $350 bill from your company? I've never bought anything from you. And it's their fucking grandchild getting hold of the credit card and just spending money.
This is another aspect that I've talked about ad nauseum too, is that to blame the video game companies for an adult not paying attention to what the kid is doing on the console or forcing it to basically put in a code in order to buy an in-game purchase, that's not on the fucking game developer.
Okay, well, that's like saying the U.S. government's not at fault if we don't come on their bullshit because, hey, you know what? It's our job to regulate them and make sure that they follow the laws that are passed.
That's not the same thing.
No, it is because they're the adults in that situation. They're the children. We are ones representing them. If we should not have to, I'm not saying the game companies are 100% at fault, but I'm saying they need to step up and put a way in to help make sure that shit like that doesn't happen. Because they complain.
There's plenty of ways that's implemented.
Nope.
Yes, there are.
Not really. How? I can take your credit card right now. I can take your credit card right now and put it in.
And that would be theft. This is not the same situation, Alex, as a fucking child going onto Fortnite and spending a bunch of money on V-Bucks with their parents' credit card. That's not the same situation. You're saying it's the same situation.
It is. To the game companies, it is.
To the game
companies, it is. I worked for multiple game companies, bro. Yes, it is. To them, they see it the same thing. They even have a term for it.
I'm not talking about that, Alex.
friendly
I'm not talking
fraud.
about the money that they see. I'm not talking about the money they see come in. I'm talking about how things are purchased. And if we're going to bring children into this conversation, we need to bring in the idea that parents need to be more attentive to what's going on with their child playing video games.
Exactly.
Except you can't manage your child 24/7.
But you can put blocks on these things, Alex. You can absolutely put blocks on it because all my friends that have kids do.
On the Switch, on the 360, and the PS4, you can put on blocks in terms of play, what you need to put the password. Yes.
Not
all purchases. Every single purchase needs a fucking passcode, a 6.
No, I'm not saying some purchases. I'm saying some consoles, some platforms. Yes. That is yes.
And I'm pretty sure that Steam also has the same thing. Like you have to put in a password to make a purchase.
Yes, actually,
you need to be on the account.
There are parental aspects to that. So my point is, if you're going to bring children into this conversation, you have to bring in the point that these parents are not being more attentive to what's going on with what their children are doing.
I'm not saying that they shouldn't be more attentive.
So my point is to stop bringing children into this fucking conversation. That's my point. If we're talking about loot boxes,
literally what the whole conversation's about. It has none. Whether we want to bring them in or not, that's the conversation that's being had in the community at large.
And I'm saying to not bring them in. Period. I'm not telling you not to bring them in.
But they're already in.
You can bring them in as much as you want, Alex. But the one thing I will add to Greg's point is that the reason why a lot of these people are bringing in the kids aspect, the kids point of view, are a lot of these older people who, again, don't understand what technology is and don't understand what's an Xbox or what's a PS4, and just assume that every console and TV is there to babysit their child. And when something goes wrong, they blame the game company, not themselves.
That's not necessarily. Not necessarily.
Explain.
It is not. They do not always see it as, oh, it's here to babysit them. Some of these older generation, we're not seeing it as much because honestly, we're getting to the point where the generation of gamers are having kids. So this issue is becoming less and less, I think.
True.
I don't think the issue is as big as they are making it sound in the news articles. But take it back 10 years.
Okay.
10 years. My mom called literally everything a Game Boy. Literally. Because she had absolutely no idea what the differences were, what the different formats were, nothing.
Yeah, my mom's
responsibility is it? Well, like, whose responsibility? She still called my Xbox a Game Boy for a long time. Like, it's pretty bad. But like, whose responsibility is it at that point to make sure that adults are being screened? Like, I've looked through a lot of the stuff, and a lot of the stuff doesn't lay out in like black and white. This is parental controls. Here's how you put them in place. Once something happens and you contact support then tells you, because they're like, hey, you need to do this because, hey, you need to stop it from happening if you don't want it happening in the future. But it's not up front in your face right off the bat. It has evolved recently where you start signing up for like Xbox Live. They put a big old warning in front of there. Are you an adult? Do you have your parents' permission? Yada, yada, yada. There have been steps taken. But that is on the platform side. It's not even in the game side.
My point, Alex, is that platforms that we use today, especially consoles, have plenty of ways that they've implemented parental controls. For fuck's sake, Nintendo had a whole video line of parental controls. I still sometimes get fucking notifications on my Switch about parental controls. And
that's to do with Nintendo's design philosophy, I think. To be fair,
well, yeah. My point is that these consoles have things implemented for parental controls, and much like years ago with the fucking V chip thing, and having to put in a code because my parents didn't want me to watch a porno channel on Comcast. It's a very similar situation. If you are a parent and you're giving the child permission, like you put your credit card into the system to allow them to purchase a game, or do you want to purchase a game for them, and you don't immediately put a block on that, like, you're asking for trouble. And that's not on Xbox's side, that's not on Nintendo's side, that's not on PlayStation's side. You are quite literally allowing yourself to have and see an issue when it comes to just letting your child have access to that credit card.
I will end on this point just because we've been over time for a bit, but
yeah.
Just the side of Alex in terms of just like how a parent would look at it. I can see Alex's viewpoint in terms of like some parents, they just look at a system and they like, okay, here's the thing my kid is playing. Let me just make sure I set it up. Okay, he can play games now. Great. I'm gonna leave it alone and let him play to his heart's content. There's a lot of people nowadays who are more informed than that in our generation as we're growing up playing games, and a lot more people are growing up to know how to deal with it and how to set it up for parental controls. And for some companies like Nintendo, beating over the head on everybody who gets a Nintendo Switch to make sure, like, yes, we have parental controls. Look at the instructions how to do it. But at the same time, not everybody knows that. A lot of people out there, boomers essentially, look at the thing and like just look at it as a system or a entertainment device for their kid to play on. and nothing else, and then to be surprised, like, oh, why is my money being so much charged for what it is than it should
honestly,
be?
I couldn't even tell you how to access the parental controls on a Switch. Like, honestly,
really?
I don't even know how.
Dude, it's super easy. Like when you're on the
I'm sure I can figure it out, but like, if it's not like point blank and center.
Before you finish your thought, Alex, let me show you how easy it is.
Okay. For those listening on the podcast, Greg is hitting Nintendo
So you
Switch
hit that
at
little
home.
gear down there, and it's right fucking there. Parental controls.
Yep.
It's on the homepage.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. See, that is how it should be designed. And like I said, Nintendo's entire design policy or philosophy is a lot different than most of the companies out there.
That's what I'm getting at. Is I've helped my I know we need to move on, but I've helped my sister set up my nephew's Xbox Live and PlayStation Plus. And right after I put in the fucking credit card, it would ask me, do you want to put a block on this? Do you want to put a passcode to use it? It always prompts you. So that's my point. I know that I know that Ember, you're absolutely correct. There's way more to the conversation than just that. The point is I really, really detest it when the government comes in or people come in at the topic and they always bring up kids as if it's a major part of the issue when it's really not. Like you said, Alex, your point is absolutely correct. There is a much, much smaller margin of adults who are just giving their kids willy-nilly access to their fucking credit cards. It's such a small margin that I don't see the point in bringing it up. Oh, that's wrong.
Yeah, it's the political aspect of it, but yeah,
it drives me nuts, and that's why I brought it up. It pisses me off when they bring up that topic because it's like loot boxes and gambling is a different conversation. Predatory stuff with loot boxes is a different conversation. Stop fucking talking about kids with it because most people buying these loot boxes are not kids at all.